Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Open Book. I am Billy Price, co-founder of BILLY Footwear. And, I love this time of the week when I get to have someone else share the screen with me and we get to talk about all the amazing people that are doing amazing things out there in the world. Part of my story, when I was as an inpatient in the hospital, really trying to put my life back together, my heart still goes out to all those in the medical field that just really were believing in me before I believed in myself. And part of that audience really included the occupational therapist and the physical therapist. Well, on screen today, we have Kelly Clark. She started a company by the name of Resource Universal, which we'll learn more about in a moment. But she specializes, she's an occupational therapist specializing in both orthotics and pediatrics. So Kelly, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure. Glad to be on.
So, as I say, my heart sincerely goes out to all the occupational therapists in the world. You guys do such amazing things. And you know what? I think a great place for us to start here before we really start talking about Resource Universal is what was it about occupational therapy that, inspired you to pursue that field?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was introduced to occupational therapy in undergrad. I actually went to school to pursue physical therapy, and that was kind of my track. And over time, I was, someone had mentioned occupational therapy. So I did a little volunteering, a little shadowing. I shadowed at an outpatient therapy clinic just to kind of see what they do, specifically with hand therapy. I was really interested in hands. I also volunteered at an adaptive aquatics program. And so I really got to just fall in love with occupational therapy and the different varieties of specialties you can do and just the creativity with the job. And so I knew I really wanted to work with individuals, helping them find different solutions to make their lives better, just kind of a glorified problem solver in a sense. So that's kind of how I got started, and went to grad school to get my master's in occupational therapy, and I've been doing it for almost 11 years now. So it's been really fun.
Wow, that's incredible. One thing I always thought is so cool is, as a therapist, you really want to empower the person you're working with. And it's not just the individual, it's also, I guess, those around them, like the family. I mean, you can have very, simple cases where it's just the individual, or it could be more of like a compounded thing where there's a lot more involvement of, the surrounding, support structure around that person. But one thing I always thought was so humorous is, as a therapist, I suppose, since you're trying to empower the individual, you're really trying to work yourself out of a job each time. You want to have them succeed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. And, as I worked in a lot of different settings. My first job was in an inpatient setting, outpatient setting, and I worked with adults, young adults, did a little bit of everything. And so I really got to get a good just feel for different problems that might come up. It's simple things. As an occupational therapist, you're helping individuals be as functional and independent as possible, and think about occupations being not necessarily your job. I used to get that a lot when I first started, but occupations as anything you need to do during the day. And so it could be as simple as trying to get dressed in the morning. It could be, getting up to get to the bathroom, or it could be actually doing, your favorite, sport or hobby, or relearning something. And so working with individuals, sometimes they'll come in with an injury, or maybe it's a lifelong disability. And so you get to see a little bit of everything, and you really have to kind of be creative, because there's not always a solution. So with my time as an occupational therapist, it's been really fun, because I get to, create things. I get to work with my hands. I get to maybe take something and adapt it and tweak it so it's maybe a little bit easier for my patient to use. But then I also then do a lot of just research online, finding what resources are there. And that's kind of what really drove this passion project for Resource Universal, is to basically have one place where I can kind of gather everything adaptive and universal. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for someone who has a disability. It could be anyone that's maybe looking for an easier solution for something. And so I'm really excited to be able to kind of start this project and see where it might go.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really the word universal. I mean, universal, that word, I was very drawn to it. Our business is very drawn to it. To us, it really means this ability to create something, or have something, or use something that's functional and just works for everybody. And I guess the example I would kind of give is like moving into, if you go to a coffee shop or something like that, whereas if you went to the coffee shop and I went to the same coffee shop and we're able to get through that door and have a successful experience, just because I can get in there, you wouldn't consider it as adaptive since I'm a wheelchair user. It's just a functional space that works for everyone. So the concept of being able to have like an area that really celebrates those universal type projects, or concepts or ideas. I mean, I think that's really something to be, that's awesome. I think it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, as a therapist, I gather lots of different. I kind of have like a tool bag of stuff for my patients, and so I try to, you know, repurpose what I can. I think there's a lot of solutions out there that can apply to different individuals, and so this was kind of a way to just have one place, and also a way to just reach more people and have easier access. And right now, I mean, you're just seeing, especially this year, that there's just so many adaptive and universal products out on the market. And it's really, you're seeing it kind of at the forefront, which is really exciting. And so if I can help kind of push that and be able to share my knowledge and experience as an occupational therapist, I think it's really kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's share how folks can find you. So let's talk about the social link as well as your website link. So
yeah. So yeah, my social link is resource.universal, and my website is resourceuniversal.com. And I'm starting to put together some fun projects. I obviously worked with you, Billy, a little bit with my first post, which was on adaptive shoes. Very passionate about shoes, so that was a fun first one to kind of do. And then we're going to have lots of different topics that I'll include there, and it'll be constantly evolving, and I'll update things as things change. And so I'm going to be working on electric bikes and different options with adaptive trikes and recumbent bikes. And my next one's going to be about adaptive gaming. I'll do some adaptive apparel, and yeah, so the list kind of goes on. So it's really exciting to be able to, you know, research and look at all these different things that are online. And you know, and that's the thing, a lot of these things are online, and so having better access to it, I think this website will be able to provide that service for people. And then it's also fun for me just to reach out to different companies and learn and be able to also share these resources. So it's pretty fun. I've already been able to kind of chat and meet some people, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thankful you reached out to us, but I'm kind of curious, and I don't remember this part of the story, how we landed on your radar. Was it someone were you working with somebody, or did you just find us through just a regular search?
Yeah, well, as an OT, I work with a lot of kiddos who are needing to learn how to put on their shoes, and Billy shoes is a big shoe that we recommend, and so I knew about Billy Footwear, and so I wanted to kind of gather what I thought was the top adaptive universal shoes out there, and Billy Footwear is definitely on the forefront of that. So that's how it got started.
Well, it's certainly been a fun ride for us. I mean, it started off as a small little idea. I mean, because you're talking about hand function. I mean, I just don't have the hand function, and it was more than that. It was also a matter of trying to shove your foot into a shoe. So to be able to come up with something that was like satisfying my need, but then to be able to share it, and just the power of that word of mouth, it's been pretty remarkable. And I mean, that's what I really just kind of think is so amazing what you're doing. It's like, first off, not only are you a mom, you work full time and in pediatrics and orthotics, and on top of that, you're putting together a website to be able to really just add value to so many people that are just looking and trying to find answers, which can be so challenging.
Yeah, this year's been an interesting year with COVID, and my husband was really the one that kind of motivated me to start this website. And so, I had a little bit of resistance, a little hesitancy, because this is so new to me. I've never built a website, but it's been really fun to learn these new skills. And, so we started a Squarespace website, and we brainstormed together. And by the end of the night, we had created Resource Universal, and it's just been really awesome. I mean, there's no pressure with this website for me, and I'm hoping to spend the next couple of years just really growing the content on there. And I've had, some great conversations with some different companies out there. And I think as an occupational therapy, it's really exciting to be able to pull my reach a little bit further, just outside of the clinical setting. And maybe be able to have some impact on what's being marketed and what's being created out there. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's absolutely incredible. And I look forward to, there's a lot of folks that, we're in contact with that have other small businesses and that are very much in that add value space to try to like make a difference. So I'm really excited to share those audience, those contacts with you too.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of circle back to the very first thing that I was talking about, how, being an inpatient in the hospital, I was in a dark place. I really was. I mean, I just didn't know really any answers. And I was surrounded by this culture of just amazing individuals, both friends and family, but I mean, just really in the medical space that, could see beyond the cloud that I was keeping myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the therapists and whatnot, I guess they were my friends, but they were more than that. They were really my coach to really just like push me and see me grow, I guess, and give me the tools to be able to not have the therapist fix me, but to empower me to be able to, really fix myself and make the choice to want to move forward. So, my heart just sincerely goes out to occupational therapists. I mean, I'm sure there's so much reward that you feel on a daily basis, but if you don't get the thanks you deserve, I mean, look at me. I'm like a bit of a success story, and I thank you wholeheartedly for the field that you're in.
I appreciate that so much. It's a very rewarding job. And one of the best things about it is that it could be the simplest thing that could make a difference for somebody. And that's truly rewarding for me.
Yeah. So. I mean, I remember just being able to write my name. You're like, wow, that was impossible. And now it became possible. And it was just a matter of working with a therapist and having her cleverly suggest a way that I could hold the pencil that I've never held it before. I mean, I couldn't wrap my head around that, but having someone in that space and, having experience under the belt, it was just this small, simple push to go try something different. That's all it took.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's one example of many. But Kelly, I know that you and I could chat forever here, but I really want to give you the mic just one more time, just to be able to, share whatever's on your heart. We can talk about something we've already talked about or something new, but I just wanted to give you the mic one more time before we sign off.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, thank you so much for inviting me. I feel really honored for being on this with you. And with Resource Universal, I just hope that someone can find some good from it and something that can help them with their everyday and help them be more successful and functional. And I'm excited to see where it goes. And thank you so much for letting me share this passion project of mine.
Yeah, well, it's our absolute pleasure. It really is. And I thank you wholeheartedly for what you do and all your colleagues as well. And, if we could put the website up one more time, just to let traffic for people to find that. You guys check it out, resourceuniversal.com. There's a lot of stuff on the site, and there'll be a lot more stuff on that site too. So Kelly, sorry I signed you up. I mean, you're gonna have to keep building out the site to be able to bring on more projects for people to be able to, find the information that they need. Yeah,
anything. I would love to hear any feedback from anyone. If there's a certain area that anyone wants more information, they can contact me on the website, and I'm more than happy to chat.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, thank you again so much for your time. Everyone else that was tuning in today was another episode of Open Book. We will have another one next week. So till then,